Okay, we are good. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you here today for our live on ADHD and relationships. Today, we're going to talk about how ADHD affects your romantic relationships as well as your friendships and communication. So, whether or not you have ADHD yourself, you love someone who does, or you just want to understand a bit more about ADHD and relationships, you're in the right place. Um, so, relationships can be tricky for everyone, right? Um, but ADHD brings in unique challenges and communication struggles like emotional sensitivity, forgetfulness, but it also brings in strengths like creativity, passion, and deep empathy. So today we're going to dive deep into how that plays out in romantic relationships and friendships. And we'll be sharing some strategies for you along the way. So my name is Rachel. I'm joined here today by Becca. She's one of our coaches at Agave Health. At Agave Health, we provide coaching and support designed specifically for people with ADHD, helping them navigate challenges in relationships, work, and everyday life. Something that's really interesting and really excited to dive into this topic with you, Becca, is a lot of people don't necessarily think of relationship issues, communication struggles, etc., when they think of ADHD coaching. Um, and as we're diving in, I thought we could just start with what are some of the common misunderstandings about ADHD in relationships that you'd love to clear up today?
Yeah. Um, so just top of mind. So a lot of people think that challenges that come with ADHD, they usually think of like you're easily distracted, they're really impulsive, and they think that those sorts of things, distractibility and the impulsivity, are just like a matter of discipline or willpower, and it could be better if you just tried harder. I feel like that's something that I hear a lot, and it's not about willpower, it's not about trying harder, it's not about being disciplined. It's actually about understanding how ADHD brains are actually like biologically we're wired differently. So having that understanding it allows you to have more compassion and empathy for your friend, for your romantic partner, for maybe even a coworker, so that you can better understand one another because they really do value the relationships. It's just a matter of sometimes things come out before they're able to filter it, or they forget about dates or important things, and it's not that they're intending to do that or trying to do it on purpose. It's just it is what it is, and there's certain skills and tools that we as coaches can help with and help them learn. So
Awesome. I just something you said about just, the idea of needing to try harder. Like I hear that all the time when it comes to work productivity type struggles that we often coach around, right?
mhm.
But the idea of just needing to try harder in a relationship, that cuts deep. That
Yeah, it
that's kind of
stings.
like
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the people I work with, and even for myself personally in my marriage, it's like, well, I do want to try harder. I am trying to try harder, but also like, what does that mean? And like when you say
exactly.
that, like what does that mean for you? Like when you say, oh, you just need to try harder, but like give me an example. Because I might be, it just might not be the like, what's the expectation? I think that's a really big
Mhm.
deal too, is that clear communication.
Well, and like, are we approaching the relationship with neurotypical? Because in the case of what we're discussing today, that's not relevant. We need to change the perspective there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive a bit deeper into romantic relationships. So, what are the common ADHD related struggles that romantic couples face? What are the things that you're seeing in your coaching?
Yeah, so a big one, I feel like there's actually a couple of big ones. Forgetting important dates or forgetting that, their partner is at home making dinner and they're waiting for them to walk through the door. I feel like that's something I personally deal with a lot with my husband. But like dates like anniversaries, maybe they're going out with a friend, whatever. Also knowing how to ask for what they need because they might not actually have the verbiage or the words to describe or articulate what they need. Another big one is like I feel like this is where our RSD, so rejection sensitivity dysphoria, can come up. It's like when we think the partner gets upset or could potentially be upset with us, like it just it hits so much harder for us with ADHD, or it can, because we internalize so much of it and we just attach so much guilt or shame or disappointment to it. And I feel like they all kind of can feed into one another. So it's almost like, well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And that's where communication is a big thing too. And like knowing how to express yourself, but also knowing how like when your partner is talking to you and like giving you some criticism or asking about something, or maybe just asking how your day was, like knowing how to interpret that's a is a really common challenge too.
So something you and we've kind of discussed a little bit recently. I was hoping you could kind of touch on it as well as how, like in a long-standing romantic relationship, how chores and responsibilities around the home can contribute to relationship issues.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this has been a big one coming up lately for my clients. I know you and I were talking about the fair play. I don't know if it's like a modality, or like you introduced me to that, but I think it's a big deal because a lot of the time the mental load seems to be harder, or like the mental load is heavier for one person than the other in the relationship. And I feel like there's a lot of, well, they should be able to know what I'm thinking, is what I hear from a
Mhm.
lot of people. It's like, but we've been together so long, like they know how I work by now. It's like, but do they, or have you all just gotten in your groove and this is just how this person operates and this is how you operate, but maybe this isn't working for you anymore? And like we're working on it in our coaching sessions, but does your partner know that we're working on it? Like have you actually communicated that with them? So I feel like that's a huge thing of, okay, well, me being responsible for this part of the household responsibilities or the kids or like whatever the moving plates are at home, or even with work, like it's like that's not working for me anymore. And being able to say that to your partner, and then knowing that this is going to be an adjustment not just for you but also for your partner, because they're, if you've been together for a while, they're used to you operating and behaving and interacting a certain way. So it's going to take repetition for them to get on board with the changes that you're going through.
And
And
change is hard.
yeah, and
This
I
is
was just
scary.
telling, yeah, it's hard for just one person, and I was telling someone the other day, it's like, one of the biggest issues or struggles with relationships is you're in charge of you. You are not in charge of the other person, and just because you're like taking the action and you're being intentional about changing doesn't mean that the other person is going to move as fast as you are. They're not going to understand, like you've got to be aware that they love you. They want to do what, like, they want to be on good terms with you and do what's best, but it's going to take them some time and you can't force them to get up to speed like you are, and that's the whole conversation. So,
For a moment here, let's switch gears into friendships because
mhm.
um, ADHD shows up in all relationships, not just romantic ones. So, how does it show up in friendships? What are those hurdles that you see in the people that you're working with who are concerned about their friendships?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest one for the people we work with and for myself is our friends are out of sight, out of mind usually. It's like it is
That's
that object permanence. It's like if
a
we don't see the person, like my husband's here every day, my kids are here every day. I know that they're there. I know I need to interact with them, but with friends, they don't usually live with us. They're not usually
yeah.
texting us or calling us multiple times throughout the day. Like they're living their life, we're living our lives. So they're very much out of sight, out of mind. So it's not that we don't care about them, about our friends. It's not that we don't want to talk to them or hang out with them. It's just we forget. And I know, like for me and a lot of the people I work with, like texting and calling is hard. It's like I cannot tell you how many times my friend, like she just texted me 2 or 3 days ago. I had the conversation in my head. I said it back to her, but I never sent the message. And like she gets it because she's also ADHD, and she's like, "Oh no, I do the same thing. Like I thought I hit send to you the other day, but I never even typed it out. I just talked to you in my head because I already know what you're gonna say." Well, what do you think I was gonna say? And it's like, yeah, yeah, you're right. Like we're done. So I feel like for friendships, it can be hard because you don't see them every day. So that's where that intentionality, and there's some tips and tricks I'll share in a little bit, but it can be hard to keep up with people when they are not like front and center right in front of you. It's not high priority like it is with the people in our immediate household or in our immediate relationship circle, I guess, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes perfect sense. But what you were saying about your friends who is also ADHD and just that level of understanding, that is my favorite part of ADHD friendships. When you
Yeah.
have someone that truly gets like, oh yeah, I was just in the zone on something else and I still love you. You're still my best friend. You're still, important to me. And it ebbs and flow. You come back together,
Yeah.
and it's so wonderful when you do,
And
um,
on
and not
that
have to
note,
feel guilty.
exactly, because I used to feel real guilty. Like I've been writing it down on my to-do list, like text Aaron back, text Aaron back, text Aaron back, or like check in with my work friends at the hospital. And we're all on the same page of if you actually need me for something, call me. I'm going to answer, or if I know you're calling me, I know it's important. So I think also having like a clear communication expectation. So if it's like a text, Snapchat, Messenger, it's whatever. But if you call me, like bet your butt, I'm going to call you back as soon as I get a chance. So
I like it's like an unspoken rule, or maybe it's
yeah.
sometimes spoken too. It's just like having that guideline, that boundary, makes it so much easier.
Mhm.
So ADHD obviously isn't just about challenges, it also brings strengths. So what are some ways that ADHD can actually improve relationships or contribute really positively to relationships?
Yeah. I feel like the first one coming to mind, and to me, it seems like an obvious one, is like we're very spontaneous people. The majority of us are like I feel like we keep it fun, we keep it real. We're very like I don't know, just like we want to. It's a fine line actually. So it's like we are very spontaneous, but we also need our routines. So we love having fun in the moment, and it's like if you've got a great idea, it's like okay, yeah, let's go do that. So I think it brings a lot of spark, creativity, and energy into a relationship, and it also like on the same coin, like the other side of the coin is we are very a lot of us are very empathetic people and very like intuitive. So like when one of our if our partners in like a hard season or whatever, like we're really good at empathizing with them and like understanding them, or just holding space for them. So I feel like you got the exciting side, you've got the you can hold space emotionally for other people, and a lot of us if we a lot of us might struggle to like hold space for ourselves emotionally, but when it comes to our partner, bet your butt we can usually hold space for them a lot faster than we can ourselves. um in
You need a
our
rock, we got you.
yeah, right. I think another thing too is like our ability to hyper focus. So when we do put ourselves out there with somebody, like with our partner or a friend, and we go do something, like we're all in. Like even if it takes us forever to text you back, like when we go do the thing, we're with you and we're doing the thing and we're in it with you. So
It's beautiful.
thank you.
So I know everyone that's going to be watching the replay or with us now. They're here for more than just wanting to learn. We learn about how ADHD impacts things. They want to learn strategies. They want to learn things they
Uh,
can take from this to go improve their relationships. So, what are some tips, I guess you could say, for improving conversations in relationships, communication?
yeah. Yeah. I feel like sticky notes can be your best friend. I know that sounds silly, but even if it's not a sticky note, like your notes app on your phone, being able to keep track of the conversations that you've had, or if something significant's happening in your partner's life, in a coworker's life, a friend's life, whatever, like keeping notes on those important things so you don't forget, and also giving it a timestamp. So it's like on around this time, like this date, this big thing happened. I know it sounds kind of silly, and it's like, well, if I was a good friend, I'd be able to remember that. Like, no, you're not, because again, like out of sight, out of mind. And also, like, you're not going to remember those really minute details unless you're like one of those, like, what is it? Not photogenic, like photographic memory kind of people. And that's just how your brain works. A lot of us, we need prompts, we need reminders. So can you be okay with taking some notes in like whatever form or fashion that looks like for you? Can you be okay with setting reminders? You bet your butt. When I have somebody make a date with me, it goes on my calendar because if I don't see it there, I will double, maybe triple book myself with things. I also plot in drive time because my time blindness is like
Oh, yeah, good
about
call.
conversations though. We'll get into that in a second. But um, I think too with conversation, being able to know if you are somebody who is overstimulated by conversations, so you need something to ground you versus you're understimulated by conversations.
Oh, no. We lost Becca. Please bear with us. That was getting to a really good part too. Okay, she's back.
That was the weirdest thing. My internet was
You were there and
fine.
you were gone.
I don't know what I did. Um,
Do
let's
you
see.
remember where we were? Because I don't.
Yeah, I was talking about like, are you somebody who gets understimulated when you're in conversation or overstimulated? So I feel like a lot of the time for my people, like they're usually understimulated, meaning like they need something to, other than just hearing people talk and like looking at the person talking to them, they need something to do with their hands. They need something to, right? Like I've got all kinds of things over here. It's like, what do you need to stimulate yourself so that you can pay attention to the conversation or focus on it better? Because some, like, let's be real, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you're understimulated. It's just that to concentrate, you need multiple things stimulating your senses. So maybe it's a
Mhm.
touch, maybe you need to have like a candle lit, maybe you need to be doing multiple things with your hands or whatever. I'm usually playing with something with my feet and my hands, and I've got candles going. Like I need all the things. And it also depends on how fast the person's talking. So I
Um,
yeah, like I talk pretty fast. My husband does not. And I feel like he talks slow. Some days he definitely does this just to irritate me, but he'll like really drop it down. I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, speed it up, get to the point." And I'm like, and then I saw a hilarious reel on this the other day. It was great, but I'm like how can I so usually when my husband's talking, I am up doing something else because I can't just sit there and listen to him. I've got to be doing something else. But if I'm overstimulated, then I need to know like, okay, what do I need to do to ground myself and to keep me in the moment? So that again, that could look like playing with something soothing. Like right now, I've got a blanket on my legs because I like that's just the vibe I'm in right now. So like it's soft, it's comforting, it's grounding me. Um, I know like I know for me the difference. So I would say maybe figuring out what the difference is for that person. And then I feel like a really big one lately has been doing in nursing, we call it teach back. So if I'm in a conversation and if I'm educating a patient, then after I'm done educating a certain piece, I'm going to say, okay, now can you like say that back to me in your own words? So it's essentially the
Yes,
same thing in a conversation with anybody. It's like you can be
yes.
like, I'm trying to think of how to say it. So it's like for me when I'm talking, I'm usually like, did that make sense? Does that make sense how I just said that? And then the person's going to say it back to me in their own words without me having to say it like in that exact fashion. But I feel like the people I've been talking with lately, it's like, okay, after you share something with them, like ask them a question so they can do that back. Or also, you could say, like, okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. And then you say it back to them if you're listening to somebody. That way you can make sure you're on the same page. And
Yeah,
if you're not, then like clarify. If you are, okay, great. Like you get what you were putting down, what they were putting down, whatever. So
exactly.
yeah.
You touched a bit on forgetfulness, so I'm gonna skip over that one just because we've got about 10 minutes left, and we've
Okay.
got, some more questions. If we do go over, are you okay, or do you need
Oh
to?
yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay. So for partners or friends of someone with ADHD, how can they offer support without micromanaging or causing frustration?
Mm. That's a really good question. And I feel like a lot of the time people are initially going to say, well, I don't know. If I knew, I would tell you. But I think I feel like in my mind, it's kind of the same thing with emotions. It's like if you don't know how to articulate it, then you just don't even know where to start. So I feel like that can be a really overwhelming question. Um, so I would say, actually, Rachel, remind me of the question again, because I feel like I have like five things I want to say
Just
about
how
this.
can partners or your friends be supportive of their loved one with ADHD? Let's just start there.
Yeah. Um, I think setting clear expectations. So, like the example I gave with my friend, it's like if I'm not responding to a text or a message, whatever,
Mhm.
then you know to call me. So, I think having that clear expectation there is really important and it can go both ways. So, making that a priority. Um, Also, knowing, I think having some good conversation around like, what is your expectation as a friend? Like, what is your expectation of one another? So that you both are on the same page with that. I feel like expectations is a huge deal, no matter what kind of relationship it is. And I think, too, understanding like what your values are, it's just going to help you understand the expectations better. But I think having like a values conversation is always really helpful, because if you know what your friend values, then that's going to give you some language around, okay, what actually matters to them. And then it's like, well, if you value this and this is important to you, like, how can I show you that? Or how can I show up and know that I'm feeding that value of yours and vice versa? That way you're not just like kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's like, you know what feels good for your friend knows what feels good for you. And same thing in like in romantic
Yeah.
relationships. Um, and I feel like that's a lot more specific conversation than a broad conversation, because I feel like a lot of the times when it comes to really open-ended questions like how can I help you today, or what do you need to like blah blah blah, it's like I don't even know where to start, and that's overwhelming and it can be really paralyzing. So knowing I think just in general being more specific and also direct with what you're asking or what you're
Yeah.
trying to communicate. A lot of us, we don't have time for beating around the bush, and we can't follow we can't, it's like, is this what you want? Is that what you want? Because again, like the RSD thing is a real thing. So I think just being kind and direct with what you're trying to communicate and what you're asking for is really helpful.
See, the hilarious thing there is everything you just said just sounds like being a grown up and being open with communication, you know?
Well, yeah.
So many of us, we don't, or at least not regularly, like, really check in, like, am I do they know have I told them what I expect from this situation or what's important to me? No, we just a lot of the times we expect people to just because they know and love us to know what we want and to meet that expectation without us having to ask.
Yeah. And
Um,
I think
that's
another
interesting.
big thing too is it's like, I know these sound like adult things to do, or like that seems common sense, but you've got to also think, and this is the conversation I had a lot yesterday, was with relationships specifically. It's like one woman was talking about her expectations and how she grew up versus her husband's expectations and his behaviors and how he grew up. Extremely different
Right.
household situations. So one person is programmed because of their belief system and what they know to behave, think, act this way, and the other one's over here, and it's like they're not meshing well. Or maybe after 20 years of marriage, it's like, I know why he does that. It's just bothering me, but I don't even know where to start with it. I think also having those conversations and like again that understanding is like, yeah, I know that's how you were raised, however, like, is that really working for this relationship?
Yeah.
Like I think, yeah.
So you touched on RSD a little bit. Let's dig a bit deeper into that emotional sensitivity piece. Um, so how can someone with ADHD navigate intense emotions in relationships without, feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, I
I
feel
think
like this is where an emotion wheel comes in really handy. If people aren't familiar with an emotion wheel, you just do a quick Google search on emotion wheel, or if that one doesn't sit well with you, then do emotion sensation wheel, because sometimes when it comes to this specific topic, we don't even have the words to describe how we're feeling. So, for example, let's say we think our partner is really, really mad or they're really sad because we're reading their body language, or maybe we're picking up on their energy. But in reality, it's like, okay, like those are very broad emotions. They're very superficial emotions. Let's take it a layer deep. So, are they feeling, or are you feeling, if you're super sad, is it that you're actually sad, or is it that you're disappointed? Is it that you're mad, or is it that you're feeling frustrated or annoyed? So once we can start to identify like what's the next layer of the emotion, it's like, oh, interesting. Okay, well, why is that? And it's like, maybe you don't know yet, and then you can go and eat like another layer deep if you need to. But I think being able to better define and label how you're feeling is going to help you ask the questions, well, what's making me feel that way? Why questions are okay, but why questions are usually going to make your brain shut down for a number of reasons. So like if you are feeling sad, you look, okay, I'm actually kind of disappointed. What contributed to me feeling disappointed? It's because I've asked my partner to do this thing, take the trash out maybe 4 different times, and I feel like they don't care. So I'm feeling a certain way, or I feel like I'm disrespected, or whatever, like insert the thing. So I think for both parties, I think maybe looking at an emotion wheel could be really helpful, because then you can learn where you are and you can also start to understand where your partner might be too. Um, and it's also going to help you have a better conversation around how you're feeling, instead of just using words like I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm whatever. It's like, no, I'm actually feeling like this and this is why. So I think asking the deeper questions is really helpful there. And having a visual to look at can be really helpful too.
Just wanted to plug as well. If you're an Agave Health member, feel free to reach out to your coach, and we have an emotion wheel that we can send you.
Yes.
Um, so misunderstandings are something that happen a lot, especially when impulsivity comes to play with emotional reactions. So what are some simple ways to approach handling conflict in an ADHD friendly way that's not going to send you on an RSD spiral?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good question. That's a loaded question.
I know.
And it totally depends on the context. So one of the people coming to mind, I'll use this as an example. So him and his partner, they've got kids in the situation. So I feel like for them, when there is a conflict, reminding the other adult involved that this probably needs to be a conversation we don't have in front of the kids, because it is like, it's just for whatever reason, it might be a heated conversation, or um, there might be certain behaviors that come out that like kids are watching, they're listening, they pick up on all of that
Mhm.
stuff. So like show them what it looks like to say, you know what, I hear you, I think we should move this conversation into the other room. Like they're going to learn a lot from that. And also looking at how you instances like in how do I want to say it, when a conflict comes up, usually a lot of us are very fast to react. And that's when we don't have a filter. That's when, and filters, like, I'm not saying you need to like sugarcoat things, but it's like, when I say a filter, it's the filter is there to help you pause and choose what you want to say with intention, because you can't take the words back once they're out there. So I would say for handling conflict, practice responding versus reacting, and that is so much easier said than done. And that's
Oh,
this is
yeah.
a really big skill that I work on with a lot of people. But it's like, okay, when somebody says something that really frustrates you or triggers you, it's like, one, do you even know what the trigger is? So we need to be trigger aware, and we need to be aware of what those tough or sticky conversations are with our friend, with our significant other, so that we know when we're going into the conversation, we kind of have a plan to help us pause. But if it comes up in the moment, it's like, what do I do in the moment? It's like you take a deep breath. You ask yourself, like, what are they actually talking about? Like, remind yourself of the tools I mentioned earlier. It's like, okay, ask for clarification. Ask yourself, is this a conversation we need to have right now, or do we need to move it to another room? Do we need to like agree to have the hard conversation maybe in like 5 minutes from now, so we can both come into it with intention instead of just reacting from like high emotional stakes? Um,
Absolutely.
So yeah, I feel like it really just depends on the context, the situation. There's a lot of different tools, but I feel like just for like really generalized terms, being able to pause, take that deep breath before you say something is it's simple, but it takes that practice.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that coin, as far as like the overreaction or the instinctive immediate reaction, do you have any advice for those who tend to shut down in the
Oh
face of
yeah.
conflict?
Yep. I'm glad you asked that because I was thinking I didn't even speak to that. Um, those people, I feel like one of the most helpful things has been to set a time limit. So it like for example, one of the people I work with, he does shut down. He shuts down hardcore. So for him, it's like, okay, can you if you know you and your wife are about to go into one of those conversations, set the timer, whether that's the kitchen timer on your phone, and you're going to practice holding space and that hard conversation for like 2 minutes or whatever, like a short period of time, so that when that timer goes off, that's your cue that you can allow yourself to shut down. That's your cue for your wife to know, okay, I need to pause and step away and have an agreement. Like, we're going to talk about it for 2 minutes, then we're going to walk away, and then we're going to come back to it. We're not going to just leave it where it is. That way it's like teaching you that it is safe and okay to show up to those conversations when you have those clear expectations, because I feel like for a lot of people I know, when they shut down, the other person's like almost chasing them because they want
Oh, yeah.
to get an answer, and it's like, this is how this person operates. They shut down and you want the answer. We need to find a way for you both to get what you need. So for this person, here's your time limit. Hold the space. For this person, it's like, take a breath, give them their moment, and then know that you're going to come back into it.
I love the idea that it doesn't have to happen right now. It doesn't have to be resolved in this moment, and that we can walk away without having necessarily a resolution for the moment. Um, Groundbreaking, really. Just picturing it, because I'm just like, oh man, that would have come in handy in a
Right?
lot of
Same.
a lot of instances. Um, well, okay, so we actually did great on time. I have one last question for you. If you could give just one piece of advice to someone with ADHD who wants to improve their relationships, what would it be? I know making you choose one's going to be hard.
What is one piece of advice I would give them? I feel like, honestly, the words coming from my mentor is what's coming up. She told me once, she's like, Becca, you need to say what you mean and mean what you say. And I feel like in order to do that, you have to know, you have to have a better awareness of what you're feeling and what you're needing, which is where the emotion wheel comes into play. And also being confident enough and having the skill set to communicate that. That's helped me so much. And it started with from her saying that, like, you've got to know what you, whatever I said, you got to mean what you say and say what you mean. Like, I feel like that changed my life. It's like, oh, like, am I showing up for myself? Am I saying the things that, am I being intentional with what I'm putting out there? So,
Intentionality.
mhm.
I love that. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Um, all right, we're a little bit over time. I think we covered so much today. I hope everybody who is watching with us now or watching the replay, that you found this as impactful as I did. Thank you, Becca. um, if you are looking for more support, not just with work productivity, etc., but also with some relationship concerns, friendship, communication concerns, our coaches at Agave Health can definitely help you navigate those issues as they pertain to ADHD. Um, so if today's talk resonated with you, we would love to help. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.